Hey, it's Tara, your yoga bestie. And we have a very fun class today. We're going to play around and workshop some chin stands, so don't let that scare you because I've got some ways to approach it that you may not know about already. If you have them, it'd be great for you to have 2 blocks and then a strap. All right. So with those 2 blocks, we're going to set up similarly to the way we did last time. So having 1 block at the highest level and then at the second level here so that you can come into a supported fish pose. So you can make sure that you get your shoulders coming over that block, and then once that's set up, find the other one for your head. And just make sure that this feels like if it might have a little bit of a gradual feeling of openness, which might be a little uncomfortable, but you don't want to feel any pain. And once you have that ready, go ahead and extend the arms out, and then you decide where you want your legs to be. You might have the feet onto the mat. Maybe you have them extended out in front of you. Maybe you have the soles of the feet together. And once you find that spot, go ahead and close your eyes as we start to tap into our Ujjayi breath. So inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Taking this time to connect with our breath. It'll be our energy source throughout our practice. So as we inhale, feeling the space right below the navel start to lift. As it draws upward, feeling an expansion through the belly, the side bodies, the rib cage, and that breath draws all the way up to where it lifts the collarbones. On your exhalation, you're going to feel your belly button draw in towards the spine, allowing you to use all 3 parts of the lungs. And our Ujjayi breath is an audible breath, so you want to hear a snoring-like sound in the back of the throat, kind of like you're fogging up a mirror with your nose. And let's start a rhythm where we inhale to the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just continue with this rhythm, knowing that you can always add or subtract any of those counts at any point, and that is bound to fluctuate throughout your practice. But while you're tuning into your breath, we've been talking about the throat chakra, the 5th chakra. In addition to it being the throat, it also encompasses the neck, shoulders, tongue, mouth, and ears. The properties of it are harmony, creativity, resonance, coherence, and truth. Purpose is communication, purification, and refinement. It's associated with the color bright blue or turquoise, so you might envision that color coming from this area of the body. And the affirmation I'm offering up this week that coincides with our 5th chakra is I speak with kindness and understanding. On your next inhale, let's get a nice full body stretch. So you're going to feel a little bit more of an opening in the chest area as you reach the arms up overhead and extend your legs out in front of you. From that space, you can place your feet onto the mat, just roll off the blocks. So you just want to remove them and place them to the side. And then you'll come back onto your back, getting a nice full body stretch, reaching the arms up overhead, extending those legs out in front of you. Maybe any other movement that feels good, like moving the head from side to side or making some rotations with the wrists and the ankles. Just awakening into this space here. And then we'll bring our hands together at our heart center, our Anjali Mudra, as we set our intention for our practice today. And maybe that is utilizing our affirmation of I speak with kindness and understanding, or whatever resonates with you. Please honor that. And take another big breath in here. Exhale, let it go. All right, from here, we'll bring our knees into our chest. We'll give them a nice hug, maybe rocking along the spine here. Maybe we find our happy baby pose or place our hands onto our knees, making circles going in one direction and then the other. And then we'll place the soles of the feet onto the mat. We're going to come into a setup for a reclined pigeon pose. So we'll bring our right ankle to meet our left knee. From there, we're just going to keep our arms down. So it's a little bit different than we usually do for a reclined variation. But we're going to extend that leg up towards the ceiling, creating a figure 4 shape. So feeling that in the outer hip of the right leg. And then we're going to extend both legs out in front of us to a hover. As soon as we come to that hover, then we lower that heel down and start to drag that in towards your body. We'll then lift it up, bringing the legs in closer to you. Big breath in. And then as we exhale, we're going to come into a twist. We'll let the legs fall over towards the left side. You might have your arms out to the sides like the letter T, and maybe you gaze past those right fingertips. Big breath in. Exhale. Let's do that again. So we'll bring our legs back to center. We'll extend that left leg up towards the ceiling. We'll bring it out in front of us to that hover, and then lower that heel down, dragging it in towards the body, bringing those legs in close to you. And then we let them come over towards the left in this twist. Big breath in. Exhale. And then bring your gaze and your legs back to center. And we're just going to switch it out. So we'll bring the left ankle to meet our right knee this time. And then we'll start to extend that right leg up towards the ceiling, feeling that space in the outer hip here. Big breath in. As we exhale, start to extend that leg to a hover out in front of you. And then lower that heel, drag it in towards the body, lifting up the legs. Big breath. And then we find that spinal twist. So let the legs fall over towards the right. Maybe you're gazing past your left fingertips. Inhale. Exhale. And then we'll do that once more. So come back to center. Reach that right leg up. Extend it all the way out to that hover where we lower the heel, dragging it in towards us. We lift. And then we bring those legs over towards the right for that twist. Full inhale. And exhale. Nice. We'll bring our gaze back to center. We'll bring our legs to center. Bring those knees into our chest as we start to rock and roll forward and back. So finding a rhythm that feels good in your body. We'll eventually make our way into our standing forward fold at the top of our mat. So once you make your way there, you might start to bicycle the legs or shake the head out as if you're saying yes and no. And then we'll roll all the way up to standing. As soon as our head lifts, let's reach those arms up overhead, gazing up. Exhale. We'll come into our forward fold so we can bring the hands through heart center or find that swan dive. Inhale, we'll lengthen halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, and then plant the palms as you step it back into your plank or push-up position, nice and strong. Keep a long neck as you gaze at the space in front of you. And we'll lower onto our bellies for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. We're all the way down, tops of the feet coming to the mat. We'll inhale, lifting up cobra pose. Exhale, we lower. And we'll start to move through these at our own pace. Feel free to come into any variation you like, maybe coming onto your fingertips in a wide stance and then starting to do some shoulder dips here. And then the next time that the forehead lowers, we're gonna make our way into our first down dog of the practice. So we can start to bicycle the legs, maybe bend the knees as we move our hips from side to side, just seeing how this feels in our body. Also checking in with that breath, making sure we're not holding it here as we inhale and exhale through the nose. Yeah, one more big breath in. Exhale. And then on your inhale, lift up the right leg. We're gonna open up that hip, heel to behind, knee up towards the ceiling. And we can start to make some circles going in one direction, going in the other direction. And then we'll open up that hip. We're gonna move into our wild thing. So we're gonna come onto the ball of that right foot as we lift up through the hips, reaching that arm overhead. Maybe find some movement here, like making some circles with the arm and bending and straightening your legs. Inhale, we lift. On our exhale, lower the right hand down, and we're gonna come into a figure 4 shape with the legs as we come into this figure 4 side plank. So lower that right hip down as you reach up through the left fingertips. So the lower you go, the more you're gonna feel that opening in the outer hip. And then we bring this left hand down, we bring the right knee down, and we're coming into what I'm calling a chin stand push-up. So lengthen through those left toes and bring your chin down and then lift up. When you lift up, bring the back toes down and bring your right knee to nose. We're gonna do that a couple more times. So lower chin, lift, tuck back toes, knee to nose. Once more, lower, lift, knee to nose. And this time we're gonna step that foot forward, coming into our runner's lunge. From here, we're gonna grab our strap and we're gonna lower that knee down. If you don't have a strap, just start to shift forward and back. If you have that strap, we're going to reach that left arm up as we lean back. And then as we'll start to straighten the right leg as we lean forward. So we're just kind of going back and forth here, just kind of tick-tocking here. Next time you lean back, we'll hold it, really breathing into that side body. Big breath in. And then as we exhale, release that strap, place it to the side. And then we're gonna come into our half moon from here. So maybe you have a block here for your right hand as you lift up that left leg, opening up to the long edge of the mat. Big breath in. On the exhale, really big bend in that knee, soft landing, straightening through both legs as we come into sky archer. So reaching that right arm overhead. We'll take hold of that wrist. Big inhale. And then as we exhale, cartwheel it down. We'll make our way to our down dog. So we can always take that vinyasa or go right to down dog. And then we're ready for our left side. So let's inhale, lifting up the left leg, opening up that hip. Heel to behind, knee up towards the ceiling. And then we'll open up that hip, moving into our wild thing. We'll come onto the ball of that left foot as we reach the arm overhead and start to make some movements here if that feels good. Nice, we'll inhale, lift. As you exhale, lower that left hand down. We're coming into that figure 4 shape with the legs. So bring that left ankle above the knee as you sit into it. Reaching that right arm up. And then we'll bring that hand down. We'll lower the left knee down as we come into that chin stand push-up. And then back toes tuck, knee to nose. We push up, knee to nose. Push up, knee to nose, hold it here. Step that foot forward and then lower that back knee down right above the kneecap. Take hold of that strap again. And this time, we lean back, right arm is up. And as we start to straighten that leg, we come forward. And we just go forward and back, breathing into these side bodies. It doesn't have to be a huge movement to feel a lot going on here. Next time you lean it back, we'll hold it here, really breathing into that side. Inhale. And then as we exhale, we can release that strap. We can place it to the side. And then we're moving into our half moon. So you might have a block there for your left hand. As you open up. Big breath in here. And then as we exhale, big bend in the knee, soft landing. We'll straighten both legs as we come into sky archer, reaching for that wrist as we lean it back. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Option to take your vinyasa or go right to down dog. And then from that down dog, go ahead and get your blocks. We're gonna place them on the second height level. And we're gonna place them at the top of our mat because we're gonna be setting up for our chin stand. So we're gonna take our shoulders to the center of both of those blocks as we bring our chin down. And we just start out here. It's really comfortable. So think about also having that corner of the block in between your index finger and your thumb, so that the main thing about chin stand is that we're really pushing into the mat. We're not just sinking into it, just like any other type of arm balance. So we're always pushing the mat away. And from here, we could start to lift up one leg. Maybe we really make that leg strong and start to bend the bottom leg, maybe finding a little bit of air time. Maybe we make it into that chin stand. Maybe we don't. Big breath here. On our exhale, we'll bring it down. Take a moment, maybe just sit back onto the heels, checking in with your breath. And of course, if chin stand is something that you already work on in your practice, I want to invite you to maybe play with going right into it without the blocks. Or if you want to come into your running man and then move to there, that is what I have found to be the easiest way for me to be able to get into it from one place to another. So if I was going to do it on the right leg, I might lift up that right leg. We'll bring that knee to the tricep, coming into running man, and then lowering that chin down to reach those legs up. Again, we start here. And just really focus on trying to open up to this area of the body and trying not to just face plant. And that can happen. You want your lips a little bit higher than onto the floor. But every once in a while, it's more like you're kind of, you're making out with your mat. It's all good. All right, let's go ahead and move on. So we'll find our down dog. We'll take a big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Bending the knees, we gaze forward as we step or float to the top. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, forward fold. Let's reverse, reaching it up and back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthening. Hands plant as we step or float. Lowering or hovering. Inhale to your cobra or up dog. Exhaling, down dog. Big breath in. Exhale. Bending those knees, we gaze forward as we step or float to the top. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, forward fold. Let's reverse, reaching up and back. Exhale, forward. Inhale, we lengthen. Hands plant as we step or float back, lowering or hovering. Inhaling into your cobra or up dog. Exhaling into your down dog. Inhale. Exhale. Bend the knees, gaze forward as you step or float. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, forward fold. Let's reverse, reaching up and back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we lengthen. Hands plant as we step or float back, lowering or hovering. Inhaling to your cobra or up dog. Exhaling into your down dog, or any resting position of choice. So check in with your breath. Maybe get a drink of water. All right. So that concludes our warm-up. So we're going to be moving into our first main sequence of the practice. If you're new to my class, we do 2 main sequences that we repeat a couple times, and then we bring them together for one full sequence at the end. The first one I call peanut butter, the second one I call jelly, and then they become a perfectly delicious peanut butter and jelly sequence sandwich at the end. All right, but before we do go into that first one, let's say to ourselves, I speak with kindness and understanding. Again, I speak with kindness and understanding. All right, it's time for peanut butter. We start out in down dog, and it'll feel a little bit familiar from our warm-up, right? So from down dog, we'll inhale, lifting up the right leg, opening up that hip to wild thing. So come onto the ball of that foot as you lift. And then bring that right hand down, creating that figure 4 side plank. So sit into it as you reach the left arm up. And then we bring that hand and that knee down for that chin stand push-up, knee to nose. Chin stand push-up, knee to nose. Chin stand push-up, knee to nose. Plant that foot in between your hands, and we're moving into dancing Shiva. So we're gonna come all the way up to standing. We can twist to the side. We can keep this knee bent. We could have our hand there. We might straighten it with or without our hand there. You choose, but really push into that right foot to feel the length through the crown of the head. And then as we exhale, we're gonna move into our revolved half moon. So maybe we have a block for our left hand here as we twist towards the right. You could also move into something that's my favorite by bending that back leg, find that foot or ankle, and move into your revolved dancer's pose. Big breath in. And then as we exhale, we take a big step back for Exalted Warrior. So left arm is up, right arm is down. You can either gaze past your right shoulder up towards the fingertips, yogi's choice. We inhale. And then as we exhale, cartwheel those hands down, making your way to your down dog however you like. From that down dog, left leg lifts. We open up the hip as we move into our wild thing. And then left hand comes down, coming into that figure 4 side plank. So really sitting into it as you reach the right arm up. And then hand comes down, knee comes down as we find that chin stand push up, knee to nose. Push up, knee to nose. Push up, knee to nose, and then step that foot forward, dancing Shiva. So we're twisting towards the right. You choose your variation. Really push into that left foot. Maybe you start to gaze towards your back thumb. Inhale. Exhale, we move into that revolved half moon. So maybe you have a block there for the right hand. Or maybe you know that you're going to be moving into your revolved dancer's pose. Big inhale. As we exhale, step it back to Exalted Warrior. So reach that right arm up, left arm can come down, maybe around as you find your focal point. Inhale. Exhale, we cartwheel it down, making our way to down dog. Cool. So now we'll pick up the pace. Right leg lifts. We move into wild thing on our inhale. Exhale, hand comes down as we bring it across that figure 4 side plank. Setting up for that chin stand push-up. We lower, knee to nose. Lower, knee to nose. Lower, knee to nose, step it forward, dancing Shiva. Sometimes wobbly. To revolved half moon. And then we step it back for Exalted Warrior, reaching that left arm overhead. Exhale, we cartwheel it down. Make your way to down dog. Left leg lifts for wild thing. And then left hand comes down for figure 4 side plank. Really sit into it. Setting up for that chin stand push-up. Knee to nose. Push up. Knee to nose. Push up. Knee to nose, step it forward, dancing Shiva. To our revolved half moon. And then we step it back for Exalted, reaching that right arm overhead. Vinyasa, or just come to down dog. You're doing amazing. So right leg lifts, wild thing. To figure 4 side plank. To chin stand push up. Knee to nose. Push up. Knee to nose. Push up. Knee to nose, and then step it forward, dancing Shiva. To revolved half moon. To Exalted Warrior. To your down dog. Almost there. Left leg lifts. Wild thing. To figure 4 side plank. To our chin stand push-up. Knee to nose. Push up. Knee to nose. Push up. Knee to nose, step it forward, dancing Shiva. To revolved half moon. And then step it back for Exalted. And we cartwheel it down, making our way to our down dog or any resting position. How you doing? Ooh. Yeah, so a great time to towel off, get a drink of water, check in with your breath. Good news, our jelly portion starts in child's pose, so you're welcome. I'm saying it to me too. The water bottle started wheezing and I don't know why. It has a lot to say. All right, so before we move into our child's pose for jelly, check in with your breath. Inhaling, I speak with kindness. Exhaling and understanding. I speak with kindness. Exhale and understanding. All right, so come into your child's pose. And we can kind of wiggle into this space for a little bit, just checking in with the breath. Big inhale. Exhale. And then we're going to come onto our bellies as we set up for either bow pose, where we'll bend our legs and we can reach for those feet or the ankles and start to push into the hands. If that doesn't working in your body today, you can come into what I call skydiver, where you create these 90-degree angles with the arms and you bring your feet up towards the ceiling and lift up the thighs. So it looks like you're skydiving. So whichever version works for you, that's what you should do. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, release. And then tuck the left toes under. Push into the mat as you draw that right knee in towards your nose, rounding the upper back. And then we'll step that right foot forward. As we do, we're moving into half moon, so you could always have a block here for you if you'd like to have that support. Opening up as you flex through that left foot. Big breath in. As you exhale, big bend in the knee, and we'll straighten through both legs as we find Sky Archer, reaching for that right wrist as we lean it back. From here, we'll cartwheel the hands down, and we come into our one-legged down dog, or maybe if you like that variation where you come into running man to chin stand, you move into that, or you lower that foot down, and you bring your blocks here, and you bring your shoulders onto the blocks and play with maybe lifting up through here. No matter what you choose, maybe you choose not to do it at all, we will meet in child's pose because that's the end of the jelly. So from our child's pose, take a big breath in, exhale, and then come on to your belly. We move into bow pose or skydiver if that's in your practice. And then we release. Hands come underneath the shoulders. We're to tuck the right toes under as we bring that left knee to nose. And then we step it forward for half moon. So again, maybe I'm sweating all over my book. Maybe having that block for you. And then we take a big step back from here, coming into Sky Archer as we reach for that left wrist. We'll cartwheel the hands down, and we go into our one-legged down dog, maybe going into running man to chin stand. Or we can bring our blocks here and play with a version. Maybe that version is just here. That's totally cool. Just getting used to opening in this area of the body. When you're done with that part is optional. Instead of one-legged down dog, we're gonna be meeting in down dog to child's. So let's start to pick up the pace. Child's pose. Shift it forward onto the belly. Coming into bow pose or skydiver. And then we release. Left toes tuck under, right knee comes to nose. Step it forward for half moon. And then big bend, soft landing for Sky Archer. Cartwheel those hands down. Make your way to down dog if you want to take a vinyasa. Cool, if not, cool. And then lower the knees. Child's pose. We shift it forward onto our bellies. Bow pose or skydiver. Releasing. Right toes tuck under. Left knee comes to nose as we step it forward for half moon. And then Big bend in the knees, soft landing. We straighten through those legs for Sky Archer. Cartwheel those hands down. Make your way to down dog, or if you want to add the chin stand, you always can. And then we make our way to our child's pose. One more time through on each side. We'll sort of come onto our belly. For bow or skydiver. We release, right knee to nose, step it forward for half moon, and then bring it back. We inhale, Sky Archer. Exhale, we bring it down, making our way to down dog, and then child's pose. Bring it forward. Bow pose or skydiver. Left knee to nose, step it forward, half moon to Sky Archer. We cartwheel it down and we make our way to down dog or any resting position of choice. How are we doing? I hope amazing. Good time to check in with the body and the breath. And the wheezing water bottle. But my favorite part of the class is next. You've made it. It's peanut butter and jelly time. So we're gonna bring these two sequences together one last time. So put a big smile on your face. Tell yourself how excited you are. All right, let's meet in our down dog. You've got this. Right leg lifts, wild thing on our inhale. Exhale, bring that hand down as we move into that figure 4 side plank. And then left hand and knee draw down as we come into that chin stand push-up. Knee to nose. Push-up. Knee to nose. Push-up. Knee to nose, then step it forward, dancing Shiva. Twisting towards the left. To our revolved half moon. And then we step it back, exalted. We cartwheel those hands down and we meet in our child's pose. We slither forward for bow pose or that skydiver. Right knee comes to nose as we step it forward for half moon. And then we bring it back, Sky Archer. Cartwheeling it down. You are done with the first side. Woo-hoo. All right, left side's turn. We lift up that left leg, coming into our wild thing. Bringing that hand down, we bring it across for that figure 4 side plank. And then hand and knee lower. Chin stand push up, knee to nose. Chin stand push up, knee to nose. Chin stand push up, knee to nose, and we step it forward for dancing Shiva. To our revolved half moon. We step it back, exalted warrior, and cartwheel those hands down, coming into your child's pose. We come forward onto our bellies, moving into bow pose or skydiver. And then left knee to nose. We step it forward for half moon. And we bring it back to Sky Archer, reaching for that left wrist, lean it back, and then we cartwheel it down, making your way to down dog or any resting position of choice. Yay! You did it! Well done. Well done. So, feel free to make your way to any seated pose. Check in with your breath. Slow it down. You can have your props to one long edge of the mat so they're nice and available to you. And we're gonna make our way onto our backs from here. I'm a sweaty mess. So however you want to get there, maybe you reach the arms forward and draw that chin in towards the chest as you slowly lower all the way down. And you might just windshield wiper the legs a little bit, just kind of checking in with the body. As you come here, maybe you place one or both blocks underneath the sacrum. You choose the height. And I always recommend having two because treat yourself. And you can keep the soles of the feet onto the mat. Maybe you start to straighten through the legs. Maybe you straighten through one leg and bring the opposite knee in towards your chest, coming into a nice stretch into the psoas muscle. You chose that, you can switch that out, making sure that you get both sides. And maybe you then extend those legs up towards the ceiling. Maybe finding a little bit of walking on the ceiling, or you can bring the legs together and make little circles, getting into that lower back. Big breath in. Exhale. And feel free to stay here as long as you want. When you're ready, we'll make our way into our final pose of Shavasana, our final relaxation. So you could extend those legs out in front of you, letting the feet fall freely to the sides and arms coming down by your sides with palms facing up. Taking a moment to do one last scan of the body, starting with the crown of the head and moving all the way down to your toes. And just taking a moment to have so much gratitude for yourself for coming to your mat today, for making this commitment. Have so much gratitude for the hard work you just put in. And so much gratitude for this feeling that you created through those first two things. Be so proud of yourself because you did amazing. Know that I'm so proud of you. So now just allow the breath to be soft. Allow the body to be still. You made it. You deserve this. So now, no worries. Just allow yourself to be. Shavasana. As always, you can stay in this Shavasana as long as you need. Otherwise, you can start to deepen your breath, maybe inviting small movements like wiggling your fingertips and toes, and then reaching the arms up overhead, getting a nice full body stretch as you awaken to this new body. Knees can come into your chest as you give them a nice big hug and then roll to your side in your fetal-like pose, our pose for new beginnings. I speak with kindness and understanding. Take this feeling with you as you leave the mat. That is when our true yoga begins. When you're ready, we'll meet in a seated position of choice. Hands come to heart center in our Anjali Mudra as we tuck our chin under. And I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. As always, it's a huge, huge honor to be able to guide you and lead you in this amazing yoga journey. So until we meet next time, Namaste. Bye.